Hey Joseph, Ian here with a quick analysis of your backhand. There's two things that really jump out at me that I think are the most important, that are the most critical for you to work on. I definitely don't think that you need to move to a two-handed backhand. You have a lot of really good, important fundamental things that you are doing a good job of. And I'll point out some of those as well. Your initial turn with your body is pretty strong. I'm going to show you really quickly here a comparison with Federer, and you'll see that his turn, it's not exactly the same camera angle, but it's not super far off. I want you to look at how much of his back we can see, and the ball he's about to hit is a little bit higher, so it's not quite exactly the same. But I wanted to use this particular clip just because this angle is very rare, and it's somewhat similar to the one that you had. But I want you to look at how he's rotated a little bit further. You're not doing a bad job with your rotation at all. In fact, I would say you're doing a really good job with your initial setup. The position of the racket, the position of your shoulders is good. The position of your hips is good. You're rotated well. I think the first and most important thing for you to work on is, well, both of these things are really important. And frankly, I have a hard time picking which is probably most important. But thing number one that jumps out at me is as your racket starts to go forward to contact, you basically go straight towards the ball from your take-back position. So you have very similar take-back positions. You can see racket head just over your shoulder. You can see Roger's racket just over his shoulder. But as you go forward towards the ball, you see that your racket basically goes straight forward towards the ball, and you're making contact a little bit above waist height, so you're not going straight towards the ball, but you're actually coming down slightly from a shoulder high position with your racket. It's dropping slightly and then kind of swooping around very flat and very straight. I want you to contrast that to what Roger's doing. His racket starts up above his shoulder, and now watch how far his racket drops right to about hip height before he starts turning forwards with his racket. So his racket here has probably dropped 24 inches from setup point down to his dropped point. And I want you to look at how low his racket gets below where his point of contact is going to be before he swings the racket forward and up towards the ball. So this is contact. I want you to look at how much further down below the ball his racket head drops. Now, if you don't care about making topspin, then this isn't a big deal. If you want to be able to hit the ball with topspin, then this element is critical, the racket head dropping down below the ball. You don't need topspin on every backhand, but all of your backhands that I saw in this video had this same pattern of the racket swinging very, very flat and very straight, sometimes even a little bit downwards. I never saw your racket head drop down below the point of contact. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this is the most important thing for you to work on. Just as I'm kind of talking through it, I think this is the most critical element in your swing, is you have to learn how to drop the racket head down below the point of contact so you can lift the ball and create topspin and create height and safety. Right now your swing is very flat and very, very straight, very lateral. The other part, which I don't think is as big of a deal now that I'm talking through it, at contact, I want you to look at where your chest is facing and where Roger's chest is facing. His chest is facing just a little bit forward towards the net, and yours is turned pretty far forwards towards the net. You open quite early, and you basically hold that open position through the point of contact. You see Roger here hit and then extend forward as he follows through to turn his chest and his body forwards a little bit extra. But he's making contact just slightly facing forwards, and you're opening quite early. I think that's probably the second most important thing. For me, if I was working with you in person, I would work on this element, dropping the racket head more down below the ball. Right now it's not getting below the ball at all. It's just a very direct flat hit compared to Roger coming from below the point of contact and then up to the point of contact. You'll see Roger hit some flat shots too, but I didn't see you hit any topspin shots. These were all very flat and even coming down a little bit to contact. So in my opinion, that's the biggest thing for you to work on. I definitely don't think that you need to go to a two-handed backhand. You've got a lot of good things here. Definitely not a lost cause. It's something that you can definitely work on. I think it'll help you quite a bit. So good luck with that. Let me know if you have any questions. Keep up the great work. You're doing a great job, Joseph.